Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and we're here to do a review of the season 7 premiere of The Flash on the CW. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing my Flash shirt, right? And I've got on my Flash rings. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a lightning bolt on it, and there's this one. The light is kind of messing that one up, but it's also the Flash symbol. There it is. You can kind of see it. And I got on my Flash hat. This is signed by John Wesley Shipp, who played the Flash in the 90s and who is on the current CW Flash show as well as Jay Garrick, and soon to be on Stargirl as Jay Garrick. I'm a huge Flash fan, so I was glad that the show came back last night. So what's going on in the episode? Well, Iris is still trapped in the Mirrorverse, and Barry's trying to get her out, but he's, having a hard time with things because his speed is diminishing. He's losing his speed because of his diminished communication, I guess, with the Speed Force. So they're trying to create an artificial Speed Force so that he can use that and continue being the Flash. This episode, by the way, was called All's Well That Ends Well. All's Wells That Ends Wells. So yeah, they're trying to get his artificial Speed Force up and running. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if it's something they can use during the season to be like, oh, the Speed Force isn't working today, or if we don't do this, it's going to break the Speed Force. And I don't, the fake Speed Force or the enemy could interfere with the Speed Force. I don't sort of want to see them go there, so hopefully they won't. But we're dealing with an artificial Speed Force. We'll have to see how well that works going forward. Of course, we're dealing now with Nash Wells in this episode. And he has apparently all the other Welleses within him because he is, I don't want to say infected, but he is in possession of multiverse particles, whatever those are. I guess they're particles left over from the multiverse that ended with the end of the Crisis situation. And because of this, he kind of can communicate with all the other Welleses, including Harrison and Sherlock Wells, and apparently Orson Welles, which is not the actual Orson Welles from this world, but I guess he's the Orson Welles of that world, and whether there's another Orson Welles in that world also, I don't know, but his name is Orson Welles and he's an actor, and okay, yeah, whatever, haha, funny. But it turns out that they can't get the thing running unless the unless the multiverse particles can reside in a human host inside this sphere that runs the artificial Speed Force. And so the Welleses tell Nash Wells that he's the only one that can do it, and that in order for the Flash to continue to exist and to be able to function as the Flash, he must die. Well, shit. That's not good. But he doesn't like this news, of course, and he's determined to find some more of the way to do it. In the interim, Barry runs off to try to stop Mirror Mistress from doing whatever it is she's doing, and he puts on his costume, and the cowl comes up, like automatically. It's like digitized or whatever, or nanotech or something, and it goes, and I was like, oh, cool cowl. So he doesn't do too well with that because apparently she can move faster than light because her mirror particles or whatever are faster than light. So she kind of takes him down, and he has to go back to Team Flash headquarters, unsuccessful at trying to stop her. So they come up with a plan that they're going to push the particles out of Harry into the sphere using the powers of that new lady who's on Team Flash, whose name I forget, and I'm going to have to make it on the screen. So they try that, and what happens is when it looks like the process is going to end up killing this woman, Barry jumps in the middle and takes the blow and ends up with all of the Welleses inside him. And it was pretty funny because he's going around talking like all the various Welleses. There's the French one, And so he's speaking French and speaking English in a French accent. And I thought Grant did a good job of doing that. And then Sherlock is also in there, Sherlock. And then they make the whole joke from the previous season when Sherlock Wells was on the team, and every time someone said Sherlock, he'd say Sherlock, Sherlock, or whatever it is. They would try to say it the right way, and it never really worked. But he kept up the joke, and I guess he's the French-speaking one, right? Well, anyway, so that was funny. And then then he did Wells the Grey, like Gandalf the Grey. It was kind of funny. The Wells thing has always been funny with the Council of Welleses and the different Welleses, which is a tribute to the actor, that he can play all these different characters, and not so much the accents because that's kind of cheesy, but that he can play these characters and give them actually different personalities. Like at one point, personalities. At one point, you can tell that Barry is speaking as Harrison Wells, and they never say it, but you can tell that that's which Wells he's being, because not only did the actor establish a distinct personality for Harrison Wells, but then Grant was able to repeat, sort of embody that character very well and portray it in such a way that you knew that was him being Harrison Wells. It was a very good job on the part of both actors there. We see a little bit of Cecile in this episode, and she's interacting with a criminal, trying to get information that can help them figure out the thing with Iris. And she can suddenly now project her feelings into people. I wasn't aware that she could do that. I was aware that she could kind of read minds and perceive feelings kind of empathically or psychically. I didn't know she could project feelings into people, but she does that in this episode. So I guess she can do that. But then we sort of come to the end of the episode, the last act or so. And it turns out that Harrison Wells realizes that he indeed does have to sacrifice himself in order for the artificial Speed Force to work, and in order for the Flash to come back and be able to do his thing, because there's a plane coming that he has to stop. So he jumps in and starts to have all the particles transfer out of him, or whatever it is that they're doing that's going to kill him. And he just initiates the process, and Barry goes to stop it, but they stop him, and it was a really powerful scene, because Wells is basically dying, and he's talking to Barry like, look, I had to do this. Don't feel bad. You've got to stay around and be the Flash. And it's what's meant to be. And the world needs you. And then he says the iconic line, now run, Barry, run. And of course, they've used that line all throughout the series. And it's been, jubilant at times when they've said it. And it's been very poignant at times when they've said it. And sometimes it's been scary when they've said it. But this is one of those times where it was very poignant. And I just thought it was a great scene. Barry, of course, does run and save the day. But, Wells is gone. And for all we know, all the Wellses are gone, because the multiverse versions are all deceased now, apparently, which is kind of a bummer. So hopefully they find a way to have a Wells come back. I don't know. We'll have to see. So I thought this was a pretty decent episode. Iris, of course, is still stuck in the Mirrorverse. She did a good job playing two different versions of Iris in this episode. So that was interesting. And of course, she looks great. Hello. They mentioned Clark Kent at one point in this episode. That's something Clark told me. And it's like, yeah, of course they have to do that because it's a Superman show. I don't think they would have done that if he was still just an ancillary character, for the crossovers, which I've heard, by the way, they're not doing this year because of COVID. But so they mentioned Clark because of the new show. I totally missed during this episode Caitlin, Joe. And by the way, I think he's the best actor in the cast, the gentleman that plays Joe. They're all good. He's great, I think. I missed Cisco, but it looks like they're all coming back next week. So that's good. How long they'll be around after that, I don't know, because the different characters are off the show temporarily for different reasons they've given in the story. So I don't know if they're back. Like Joe, for example, went into witness protection last season. So if that's over and he's going to be back, I don't know. Or is he just coming back temporarily? Like, what's the story? None of the actors are actually leaving the show, as far as I know. So I don't really know why. Maybe they wanted a break. I don't know. Maybe the writers needed to change it up. And if so, that's good, because you don't want the writing to get stale. I'm not totally thrilled with these new characters on Team Flash. There's only 2 of them now, and Barry, that's all of Team Flash, unless some people come back on a permanent basis. So we're gonna have to see what happens next week. The preview looked good, with Caitlin Snow back, apparently as Killer Frost, which is great. I like the Killer Frost character. Cisco's back, so we're gonna see that. Oh, they did have a scene, by the way, where they sort of mourned the Wells as Barry and the 2 remaining members, and it was emotional and, again, well acted and poignant. So that was an enjoyable moment as well. This show is still fresh. The Arrow show at this point had sort of gotten really old and really sort of jumped the sharky. That doesn't seem to have happened with the Flash, which I'm glad for. So I hope that continues. Oh, one other thing, Mirror Mistress realizes at the end of this episode, in the post credits thing, that she is in fact a copy. She's not the original wife of that other guy. The wife actually died, which he tells her in the beginning of the episode, in a flashback, which she remembers anyway, for him telling her from before. And she realizes, I am a copy. So she seems distressed at that. So we're going to see what happens. There's some speculation that she actually ends up fighting with Team Flash this season against whoever ends up being the big bad. Because, of course, right now, they're still just finishing up season 6, which got cut short. So season 7 isn't really going to be this story the whole season about Iris and Mirror Mistress and all that. This is sort of just the end of season 6 that we're seeing now. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens with her as well in the rest of the season. But that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back next week. Until then, I leave you with my customary departure saying, peace and long life.